Yesterday, we did one player to invest in from every single Premier League club. Today, we're doing the opposite. These guys sell your stocks immediately because when the bailiffs come knocking on June the 1st, 2026, you don't want to be holding stocks in these guys or they will be taken away. Your TVs, everything is gone. I feel like I say it every video now, but big thanks for the love. We've hit 32k now. We're on the road to that 100k. So all I'm saying is, if you haven't subscribed already, you've not invested in my stocks, when the bailiffs come knocking, you're in trouble. Alas. We start, as always, in alphabetical order. We begin with Arsenal. This one, for me, there are a few players, to be fair, because obviously Arsenal finished second for the third time in a row. There's a chance that maybe at some point it all collapses and stagnates. But there is one player in particular I've had to go with here. I'm scrolling down, so I'm not even sure where to go exactly. He's listed as a central midfielder. Mikel Merino. Obviously, the Arsenal fans are loving him. They're doing lo, 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 lo. Mikel Merino. The chant is fantastic. However, the guy was so ineffective as a central midfielder. He went up top to go and play 9. And when I saw the tweets on Twitter where everyone was saying, oh, Arteta's the kind of guy to go and play Merino 9, I thought they were just trolling. He went to play 9. And in all fairness to him, listen, he came on against Leicester. He bagged twice. They won the game. You can't argue with it. Arteta, genius for that one. But there are actual strikers now, which means your services are no longer required to be a 9. Although you are good at finishing and, you know, let's be fair, not much else. And that is why, as a midfielder, like, it's over. Sometimes you're going to say, you know what, fair enough, charge it. But yeah, there's just no way he should be playing as many games as he did last year. We go to Aston Villa. This one, I ain't even got to scroll anywhere because it's the very first name you see, Emi Martinez. When are we going to stop pretending that this guy's cold? Please. He's being voted for this Yashin Award every single year because of one save he made versus Colomboani 3 years ago, guys. 3 years ago. This guy, people who actually watch Aston Villa week in, week out, and not Aston Villa fans because they'll gas him up for whatever reason, those of us who just watch bare games will tell you, he makes howler upon howler, but nobody speaks about it because in the big games, he shows up. Look at the very last game of the season, for example. Against Manchester United, a team that was fighting to hit 40 points, he single-handedly cost them the Champions League spot. So please, don't tell me about how much cold aura he has in penalty shootouts. Like, I don't want to hear it, bro. This time next year, he will not be nominated for any Yashin Award. I want to say I guarantee it, but knowing these guys, I can't because they'll put him in there until he retires. Next up, we go to Bournemouth. This one, again, a bit of a tricky one, I'll be honest with you. However, looking at how they performed last season, I think the person that was performing way beyond their capabilities is Justin Kluivert. He was moving like his dad, you know, Patrick Kluivert, the prime version from, what do you want to say, Barcelona maybe, for those of us who remember. I don't think that's his natural level. I think more his level was that miss he had against, was it Liverpool at the Vitality Stadium, where, let's be honest, they should have beat them. This guy managed to miss like an open goal and hit the post. I said, hey, every other game, you're smashing it top bins from like 30 yards. What's happening here? I expect him to have a far worse season in terms of numbers. Probably the toughest one up next is Brentford, because there's not a lot of guys that I would, you know, invest in or sell stocks in. So I'm just going to say I'm selling my stocks in Keith Andrews. Who on earth is my man? I'm going to say he's one of the first managers to get sacked. Maybe you could squeeze like a Fabio Carvalho in there, because I guess from his Liverpool times when he had really, really high expectations, he's kind of just any random guy now, so he might not do well. But yeah, Brentford, listen, without like Tony and then Mbuemo and Wissa, it is a team full of NPCs, let's be honest. Half these man, if you saw them in the supermarket buying bread, you won't even recognize them. Up next, we have Brighton. This one is more so based on how highly everyone else rates him, because obviously I'm not one that plays FM much, right? I'm not an FM player. I know a lot of you bang out FM, and all I saw last year was, hey, Matt's Weefa, he's a beast. All the Twitter tacticals, yo, this guy's gonna light it up, bro. They're still gassing him, saying, oh, he was unlucky with the injuries and that. Me personally, I feel like, again, this coming season, we're not gonna see anything special from my man. We're gonna think, oh, was my man even playing? Was he even there? Because luckily for him, he has someone like Baleba who can be an entire midfield 2 or 3 by himself. We take a trip to Burnley and we go right up top. This is a man who, he's been riddled with injuries himself, in all fairness, but Armando Broja, it's over, man. It's over. Like, you tried the Everton thing, you tried, was it Southampton as well? These loans, they're not banging. At some point, you got to realize maybe this level's a bit too high for me. So big up your thing, you can bark it off in the Championship, but I don't see a scenario where he's bagging double digits like Burnley would need to stay up this season. We go to Chelsea. By the way, how do Chelsea fans not have actual chants? Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, deep it, guys. I know people joke about that's their only song, but when you think about it, does Cole Palmer have a song? If he does, maybe he does, innit? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never heard it. I've never heard Caicedo have a song or Enzo Fernandez. Speaking of whom, stocks are being sold. I mean, I don't hold any anyway. I do not hold any Enzo stock. I never have and I never will. But I am encouraging you guys to sell your stocks because for some reason, you know, in the last 3.5, 4 months that he's randomly started scoring goals at the back post, people think he's incredible now. They start listing his stat. Chelsea fans of all people is crazy, by the way. Stats matter to them when it fits their agenda. When it doesn't, no, stats aren't important anymore. Remarkable. They are inflating his numbers because he's getting assists and goals versus what Noah's Ark and Pauk and these kind of opponents. Guys, can we be serious for a second? When he arrived, oh, what an incredible 8 he is, box to box, incredible. You realize he's a bit, you know, slightly overweight and he can't run and that in the Premier League. You said, oh, no. He's a DLP. He can just dictate from the back. Terrible at the DLP because he's so bad defensively. He's tackling. He turns like a truck. So then they said, oh, no. He's a 10. Trust. Let the other guys play behind him and he can get further forward. And now he's bagged some goals. I'm not going to act like he was playing terrible, but if ever there's a time to now sell the stocks, it is now when people are gassing him up like crazy again because some players have the luxury of going missing for a year and a half and then playing alright for a few months and suddenly is the best in the world again. 75 mil value, I expect that one to decrease this time next year. Crystal Palace, they are flying at the moment. It's a tough one, this one. There's not a lot of players that I don't back, to be fair. I really like most of these players, but Daichi Kamada, obviously I've gone to Selhurst Park a few times. I've watched him in person. He's not better than Adam Wharton. He's not better than Lerma. He's not better than Will Hughes. They don't know if he should play 6, 8, 10. Obviously, big up your thing, you know, Lazio and the Bundesliga, Frankfurt. You're doing all right. But at Palace, for me personally, I think they like him because he's very hard working, but it's time to go. At Everton, I know they're going to get angry. They're not going to be happy with me, but Jordan Pickford, man, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Stop bringing me this guy's numbers because he gets clean sheets in a very defensive team and then telling me, oh, he's the best, he's a top 3 keeper, he should be an England starter because he saved penalties against Colombia, 7 years ago now. Guys, I want you to understand something. Just because he performs adequately for England doesn't mean there's not someone that can play better than him. Yeah, I know he hasn't let you down per se, but there are better keepers available than Jordan Pickford. And I'm hoping, with it being a World Cup year as well, that this time next year, the World Cup has happened, Jordan Pickford should not be an England starter. Over to Fulham, Craven Cottage. This one is with regret. But I think at 25, Emil Smith-Rowe, it might be time for the stocks to be sold. I'll be honest. It's looking dark. I felt as though there was literally no one else I really could have picked because nobody's stocks here are super high. Like if I went Adama Traore, for example, that probably would have been the obvious one because it's clear that he's not going to put the incredible physical attributes he has with the IQ and the decision making to go with it. So is there any point me picking Adama? Not really. The stocks aren't going to go much lower. But Smith-Rowe, at least we know he's good at football, right? We know that when fully fit, when firing, when healthy, there's something there. But unfortunately, you know, I don't know if it's the amount of Nando's that they have in West London over there. I don't know what it is, but it just seems like he can't quite get that run of games and staying fit. And so therefore it's possible that this is his last season at Fulham. But again, that could all change if he bangs out some crazy fitness program before the window closes. Over at Leeds, we got another goalkeeper. How this guy is still their keeper, I have no idea. Leeds fan, please tell me. You guys went down to Championship. You've come back and you're still bringing me this guy. Bro, he cost you, man, 2 years ago when you were in the Premier League. How is he still employed by Leeds United? I have no idea. I don't rate him. I never have. Goalkeepers that are timid and shy, never gonna cut it in my personal opinion. But we go to Liverpool, the league winners, which means a lot of these players' stocks are very high at the moment. One person who I can't quite understand why they're so high, Dominic Szoboszlai, 80 million. Are you having a laugh? 80 million euros. I would not even pay 80 million Zimbabwe dollars with the hyperinflation from back in the day. That would be worth like £5 or something right now. This guy is not that good. And I hope, having watched the International Super Copa de Anglais final against Crystal Palace, that Liverpool fans now can see what it's like to have players that are actually good at football in your attacking positions. The likes of Florian Wirtz, the likes of Ekitike and whatnot. This Szoboszlai guy, you know, combing his hair back and then spamming diagonal to the advertising boards, he's not good enough. Please stop telling me about how last season he led the league for, you know, pressuring people or something. Bro, you don't, like, oh man, it makes me upset. The football that I grew up on, you know, I'm wearing Ballers of the 70s shirt. What kind of players do you see on here? We got the likes of Johan Cruyff. We got Kempes on there. Guys like, you know, Socrates and these men. They are people that they are creative, but they can finish. They're just nice, liquid footballers. Not Szoboszlai playing rock and roll number 10 with no technical ability, no dribbling, just one very powerful shot. I hope, for Liverpool's sake, this guy is not in the starting 11 come the end of the season. Because we haven't forgotten you guys calling him the Hungarian Gerrard, the Hungarian KDB. There is an argument to be made that someone out of Salah and Frimpong is going to suffer this season. I don't know who it's going to be, but it might get a bit shaky because without Trent, that dynamic, I don't know if I like what I'm going to be seeing this season, but I'll be a fool to sell stocks in Salah. Not that I have any, but, you know, the guy's going to go and put up like 20 and 15 or something. So what can we even say? But Szoboszlai, get out. We head over to Manchester, and this time I'm going for a new signing. His stocks are high. They are telling me he's a top 2. Was it? They were saying it was the best left back in the league. Then they were saying, nah, top 2, defo top 3. Guys, Ait Nouri is going to startle you. Because for as good as he is going forward, and I want to reiterate, I said it during Club World Cup, Ait Nouri is fantastic going forward, but he would have been perfect for a Manchester United more than a City, who are playing with 4 defenders and already are looking a bit shaky at the back. Bringing in Ait Nouri to play in the back 4, they're going to send this clip here and they're going to be like, oh, remember when he didn't rate Ait Nouri because he gets like an assist or like a cut back to Haaland or something. Yeah, I've never said like he's bad at football. I just don't think Ait Nouri is the guy to make Man City's backline suddenly look strong, because Ruben Diaz is looking a bit over the hill. Akanji's doing too many Pythagoras theorems in his head. You've got Nunes at right back. Guys, you need a bit of stability there, and Ait Nouri is not going to provide that. And when he's getting cooked on the counter, then they're going to call me a madman. But we go to the other side of Manchester. This one, I mean, their stocks are already low, but listen, I can see a lot of these going even lower. Trust me. I mean, Ugarte, for example. Although I don't know, you let me know, United fans. Do you still believe in this guy? Because if you do, then Ugarte is my pick. One of the worst footballers I've seen play for such an incredible club. Manchester United, in my opinion, you guys can shout at me all you want and count the trophies. This is the biggest club in England. This is Manchester United. Why is Ugarte part of your future plans? Manuel Ugarte, abhorrent footballer. I've said that word a few times, but I really, really mean it. If you guys have already realised that he's not good anymore, then fine. I'll go with either. Look, even Hamorim, huh? Hamorim, he might get sacked by... Woo. Let's make a bold statement now. Let's go November the 4th. When's that? It's November the 4th. Guy Fawkes. Remember the 5th of... No, 5th of November. Whenever Guy Fawkes is, the fireworks are going to be out and Ruben Amorim will get the sack. Mainly because Bruno Fernandes, Captain Magnifico, did not go to Al Hilal for 100 million. He does not fit in this formation you guys want to play. 3-4-2-1. If he's the right forward, if you will, for the FIFA guys, okay, fair enough. In a midfield too, unless you're bringing me Baleba, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see Bruno Ugarte. I don't want to see Bruno Casemiro. I don't want to see Bruno Kobe. It just don't bang. But I'm sure come next year, the United fans are going to come and bring me his individual stats and tell me that he's sick. We go further north, up to Newcastle. This one, I mean, I guess the obvious one would be Alexander Isak, because at 120 million, he has told Newcastle, I am not playing for you, man, again. Unfortunately for him, Newcastle are saying, okay, well, you're not playing for Liverpool, that's for sure. So unless he goes to like a Real Madrid or something like that, he's going to be sitting there playing with the under-21s and that, you know what I mean? So I don't see his stocks going up. But also, I think Pope will get displaced by Aaron Ramsdale. Not been a Pope fan at all for the last 3 years. Really, really error-prone as well. But he's a cult hero, so Newcastle fans won't like to hear it. But yeah, Pope will be the player if I cannot pick Isak. Over to Forest. Mr. Marinakis, I respect all your players, bro. They're all incredible. So please don't get my channel taken down. But Chris Wood, man, you were a good dude. Honestly, I loved watching him last season. He had that gait of prime Karim Benzema, the way he was running and the shirt was tucked and he would run with his arms out when he scores. Every movement, if you squint your eye like that and then you squint your other eye as well, it looks like you're watching Karim Benzema. That has to be a fluke season. he's going to be looked at in like 5-10 years as a streets won't forget type player. And I know he scored goals in the Prem before this, but let's be honest, he was never at this level. He was bagging his calm few goals here, you know, Burnley and Newcastle, but this was like a whoa kind of season. I don't see it happening again. And obviously Igor Jesus coming with his, you know, Dragon Ball Z celebrations from Club World Cup probably will end up displacing him, but who knows. Final four, we go to Sunderland. To be honest with you guys, again, I don't know a lot of these players, right? A lot of these players, obviously Sunderland have been away for a while, so I guess I got to go with this Mark Guehi guy because he was meant to be, you know, a Barcelona wonder kid. Chelsea had high hopes for him when he's scoring in Conference League again. Yeah, I'll say that he won't really work at Sunderland. He won't be a starter by the end of the season, despite what they think he should be. Over at Spurs, they've won the Europa League, but they of course finished 17th, so stocks are kind of in limbo there. There are a few players that I don't rate for sure, but one that I think has, I suppose, relatively high stocks, if you will, is James Maddison. The media love him because he does his dart celebration and he winds up Roy Keane and whatnot. But this guy, yet again, I'm not the celebration police in it. You man do whatever you want. You've won a trophy, of course, you're going to be gassed. But the way he was doing a victory lap the next day on people talking of him like, you know, he's someone that will be a very purple patch type player, I didn't really get it. Because you didn't even play in the final. And again, you have been patchy through the season. I remember at the start of last season, when they went to the Etihad and beat them 4-0, Maddison was great there, fantastic performance. And then again, you don't hear from him for a while, and then he's injured again, and then he's back again, he scores a couple goals, and then he's injured again. He's injured right now. This is not someone that I personally would put my faith and put my trust in. So I am going to be selling James Maddison stocks, I guess, for a bold take. If I say he's not going to make the plane, is that a bold take? He won't make the England squad for the World Cup, despite how much everyone loves him. He's just, nah, not my kind of player. That the final two, look, I'll be honest, I struggled, man. West Ham, there's not a lot going on there, bro. They were terrible last year. No one's really rated like that at all. Look, I'm going to go Aged, because I was an Aged hater after the World Cup. He arrived at West Ham. I wasn't feeling him. When I did my pod a couple years ago, I was putting him in my stocks to sell and overrated players. He left West Ham. He went to Sociedad. They were telling me, oh, Sociedad fans love him. He's been beast or whatever. Why is he not re-signed with them? So if he is staying at West Ham for the upcoming season, then yes, he, I guess, is the one that I'm going to go for stocks to go down, because there's just no one else to pick. And likewise, Wolves, unfortunately, guys, who's rated here that shouldn't be rated? Strand Larsen's rated, but I like him. Hwang Hee-chan, maybe he's less rated. I think he's somewhat underrated now. Totti's calm. Everyone's kind of calm. So I'm going to go Jose Sarr, because for whatever reason, when he has a good game, people start putting him in crazy convos again. But I think he's been washed for about 4 years now. Whenever Lacazette slapped his head that time, I think he's been meaty. I want to say he'll get replaced by the end of the season, but it looks like the other two backups are both also 32 years old. So I don't know what's going to happen to him, but I don't rate him as all. So yeah, that's my list. As always, make sure you put your comments for all 20 teams, or just the top 5 if you want to, however many you want. But don't let me see edited on your comment, because we're going to come back and revisit and look at who had the best ones, who's going broke with their terrible stocks back in June. And lastly, I rarely ever plug it, but check out the website. Again, shirts like this, you can get them. I'm adding more and more teams from around the world, so put in the comments as well what you want to see. We've got Arsenal there, Barca, Bayern, Boca Juniors, Dortmund was added this week, Palace FA Cup winners, Everton, Juve, Inter 2010, Galatasaray. Every Friday, I'm going to be adding more and more. And it's free shipping worldwide, any country you're from. But yeah, that's all from me. Keep liking, keep subscribing, and I'll see you, man, in a bit. Bosh.